and welcome to Skincare Confidential. My name is Dr. Ted Lane. I'm a board-certified dermatologist, and I am your host today for a really exciting episode with a guest that many of you may remember from his days with Galderma, Mr. Francois Fournier. Francois, it's so great to see you.
Good to see you, Ted. It's really great to see you again. And
yes.
We are between Texans, so it's even better.
Yeah, so Francois is joining us from France, where he has a home, but he also runs his company between Texas and Paris. So it's so nice of you to give us some time, Francois. I appreciate it very much.
You're welcome.
So Francois, now you are president and CEO of HTL Biotechnologies. Can you explain to us what this company, this very exciting company that not many people have heard about, what HTL does?
It's thanks for the question, and thanks again, Ted, for the invitation. And it's funny because I will be next week in Texas, so excited to see you again. Mm-hmm. HTL is a very interesting company. It's the leader of the production of biopolymers by biofermentation, biopolymers of pharma grade. So I would say that plastic surgeon, dermatologist, and other physicians, when they use dermal filler for aesthetic indication, there is a fair chance that they will have inside the hyaluronic acid of HTL. Because again, as I said, we are the leader. More than half of the market is coming from us. So we are very proud of being the leader across the world. So, long story short, 30 years ago, the production of HA was coming from the comb of the rooster. Mm-hmm. It's not very animal friendly. And so a very genius lady from HTL developed a process to produce the HA through a Streptococcus echi. And by biofermentation, we are producing fiber that are used again for aesthetic indication, but also for other indication in the pharma grade, such as rheumatology or ophthalmology or in oncology. So very proud of being a company producing a biopolymer such as HA, but also DNA, eparosin, and so on.
Yeah, so I just want to reiterate, right? We think about, especially for those of us who inject, we think about the fillers that we inject as being produced by the manufacturer on the label. But you don't really think about where that manufacturer gets the raw material to produce the actual dermal filler. And that's where HTL comes in, because they actually supply the hyaluronic acid that goes into what we inject into the skin. So it's really incredible as we move kind of down the chain where HTL is so important to so many of these companies. And as you said, chances are if we are injecting a hyaluronic acid filler, we're injecting your product.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm always, being French American, you will understand my analogy. We are really producing premium HA. We are a bit in the haute couture. And the haute couture means that we can customize the HA according to the needs, the specification, and the request of each customer. So there is not one HA produced by HTL. There are multiple HA, the molecular weight, the viscosity, a lot of parameters will make something very special for each customer. And I will tell you a long story short, I will not give you the name of the company, but there was a filler that was introduced in the US a year and a half ago. We are the only supplier of HA to that company, but the company purchasing the HA to us is operating under another name in the US. And many physicians told me, say, wow, we are very impressed by the new dermal filler on the market, easy to inject, long lasting or a bit longer, we can customize a bit with the cheek or the nasolabial, very interesting. And I was a bit smiling because I knew the brand and I know that we are the only supplier. And it was, again, the confirmation that with HTL inside, people, you can feel the difference. And that's exactly what we are trying to do every day. That's our mission.
Well, listen, I know a little bit about haute couture, both from my co-host, Dr. Patty Ferris, and from my wife. They've really taught me quite a bit about haute couture, but I think in response to something totally different than dermal fillers. So we'll move on from there. So HTL, right? We you have the hyaluronic acid. You really supply most of the industry, which is really interesting. But you've already mentioned. I mean, what got me very interested is when you described to me that the science and what you're developing in your labs goes well beyond hyaluronic acid and is actually going to drive the industry for at least the next 5 or 10 years in terms of what products are being developed and what will be injected. So I'd like to, if you don't mind, just start working down your product portfolio in your pipeline and discuss it because it's so fantastic, honestly. Let's talk about the salmon derived DNA and how it's used and why from salmon. I mean, I'm just so interested in this, Francois.
Okay, no, and you're right. It's a great question because I'm also passionate by the DNA. Basically, you have tons of salmon fished, especially in Alaska and Canada. And from the milt of the salmon, anyway, when the fish is fished, if I can say that, the waste are thrown and we are getting the milt of the salmon. And again, through a very advanced process, we are extracting the DNA.
Okay.
And that DNA, if you go to Asia, go to South Korea, go to China, go to Southeast Asia, your colleagues in dermatology, they are using a lot of injectable containing our DNA, which is used for skin rejuvenation, skin boosting. So it's much more used for superficial injection, but really it's a huge market booming in Asia, and people are using our DNA and they are amazed by the results. And we are equally amazed. So we are investing more and more in our innovation and development to better understand what's behind, because the product has been on the market for a long time, but now we are really accelerating the development and the commercialization of the product, first in Asia. But my dream would be in Europe and in the US, because I believe that you, as a physician, Ted, and your colleagues would be absolutely fascinated by the outcome for your patient. Again, skin boosting, skin rejuvenation.
I wonder what the mechanism is of injecting a foreign DNA very superficially into the skin to increase hydration and to give that kind of glow look that we all look for with these skin boosters. Do you have any insight as to how it's working?
If you ask me, I'm not sure I will deliver the best message, but I would suggest that you invite for your next session my head of innovation and research and development, and she
Okay.
will explain with really with a lot of talent and the nice words, not the mechanism because we are still working on that, but she will
Okay.
explain what's behind and where we are again now. Putting the emphasis in terms of development to really understand what's behind. We are also working on DNA differentiation to see the different quality of DNA and the outcome. But it's clear that if you ask your colleagues in Asia, they will tell you that they are really fascinated by the outcome and patient first as well.
So and Francois, you mentioned this to be used as a booster, as an injectable, which is really where your company excels. Do you see it being used as skincare? Is it already being used as skincare in Asia?
Yes, it's a good question. It is used. There are very premium brand, such as, if I can say, there is a company named Valmont.
Okay.
They are using DNA also in the skincare, and they say in terms of formulation, in terms of outcome, they're also very impressed by. So I think we are a bit it's the tip of the iceberg that we see
Yeah.
with the DNA. And my vision with this product is that we are investing more again in the research to better understand what's behind. And again, the geographic expansion will be Europe
Mhm.
and US. And that's where you guys can help me.
Now, we in the US now we're getting very excited about exosomes, which are essentially
Right.
carrier molecules to deliver whatever we would like. We're trying to really bioengineer these exosomes as carrier molecules that are wonderful at penetrating through into the cells. Do you see the salmon milt and the DNA involved there as being something that we could bioengineer into an exosome? Is that an idea, or am I
Mm,
far off base?
With my words, I would tell you I would see more an opportunity with HA, and there are
Okay.
I cannot disclose the companies behind, but there are one big pharma working with us on better understanding the carrier that HA could be. There are
Ah,
also in oncology. If I make a digression, there is in oncology a company working with us where they are using an active and the HA that they can deliver exactly. So to your question, I would say definitely HA. DNA at this stage I cannot answer.
okay.
You know, I have a future patient next to me with my daughter. Can you see mommy? Go downstairs to see mom. Thank you. Sorry, Ted,
No
but that's the
worries.
live.
That's the life. Absolutely. So as we go down your product pipeline, thank you for explaining the salmon milt and the salmon derived DNA. It's something that we'll have to keep an eye on here in the United States. And if we can help you, we need to talk about that.
Right,
Um,
and we need because I think there is a market in the US. There is. I know some people already speaking about DNA on the US market.
uh-huh.
I think there is really a very nice opportunity, and I want HTL to be in the driver's seat with you guys to really explore the opportunity in the US.
Okay.
Definitely.
Wonderful. Let's move on to heparosan, which is derived from hyaluronic acid, but it's a glycosaminoglycan. And
Yes.
it can be used, from my understanding, and again, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm just learning about this. It can be used really in pharma as well as in aesthetics.
Yes. Alors, for us, let's be clear. Aesthetic is pharma as well.
Ah,
We are always developing pharma grade injectable biopolymers,
okay,
and the aesthetic medicine is pharma,
okay,
and we have exactly the same standard, and the bar is as high as the other therapeutic indication. Heparosan, um, there are things that I cannot disclose at this stage for confidentiality reason, but also we want to make sure that it's proved before we can say everything. There is one thing we can say for sure: there is a longer lasting effect,
okay,
and that's the hook. That's the lever we see with eparosan. It's at the end of the day because there is a less effect of the hyaluronidase, the enzyme
yeah,
degrading HA. It's not happening with heparosan. So, long
uh,
story short, we know that there is a longer lasting effect, which is very important for some indication or for some use in aesthetic medicine or in rheumatology or in other therapeutic area. So very promising based on that feature.
resistant to hyaluronidase. So remember that
Yes,
our bodies, just to back up a little bit, our bodies are producing hyaluronic acid all of the time, but unfortunately we also have this enzyme that degrades hyaluronic acid called
exactly,
hyaluronidase. And so there's an
exactly.
equilibrium, and of course as we age the equilibrium always tilts to the enzyme to breaking it down, and that's why hyaluronic acid, for example, is such a common and really popular ingredient in over-the-counter skincare, because we're trying to replace what otherwise is being degraded by the body, in addition to trying to reduce the activity of hyaluronidase so we can increase the overall concentration of hyaluronic acid in the skin. When we talk about glycosaminoglycans, that is the one of the primary uh, uh, ingredients or factors of the dermal matrix, right? Which is the second layer of the skin. What gives the skin the turgor. It's what absorbs the hydration. Glycosaminoglycans could not be more important for the health and beauty of our skin. And so when we're talking about something that maybe could replace hyaluronic acid that is not degraded by hyaluronidase, that's extremely interesting and compelling, because now we don't have to rely on something that is always being degraded. We can actually deliver something that may have a longer lasting effect, to your point. And I could also think of this in the orthopedic view when we're injecting hyaluronic acid into joints, and something that may
Exactly.
be much longer lasting, as well as in rheumatology. So I'm kind of I'm I'm going down the road of what you just said and realizing the opportunity that Heparisan really offers.
Okay. And just without going into the details again for confidentiality reason, a year ago, same discussion than tonight, I would have been much more cautious.
Ah,
Now, it was no later than 2 weeks ago. I saw my people in the lab from the development organization, and they were able to produce eparosan meeting all the specifications we had.
amazing.
And there was an excitement within the team that I never saw before because they found something tangible and they say, now we are moving in the right direction. So I would say more to come.
Ah, that's exciting. Okay, so we'll have to talk more about this maybe in 6 to 12 months and see where things are.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, invite for the same program my head of innovation, research and development, because she will have a lot of things to share about the vision we have in R&D, but also sharing with you some results that will be very compelling going forward.
Amazing. The last one that I wanted to discuss was the oligohyaluronic acid, and the idea that you're offering both small and high molecular weight hyaluronic
Right.
acid. Can you explain to us why that's so important?
Yeah, it's very important because it's, I would say, without making a joke, it's a bit the DNA of HTL. And I gave you a flavor before saying that we are not producing one HA, but we are producing multiple HA
Yeah.
from very low molecular weight to very high molecular weight. And that's where we are recognized by our clients. So if I want to differentiate the low and the very high, I would say on the very low, we saw some biological effect that are for sure interesting in some cases. On the flip side, the benefit we see on the viscoelasticity with the high molecular weight, it's the mechanical effect. So the HA and the range of HA we are producing from low to high are either offering biological property or mechanical property. And that's the way I would explain the benefit. Again, our clients, we have amazing clients. They are fantastic. They know HA better than anybody, and they have special needs. And so we are able to meet their expectations. Some have some in mind. They are asking for a very, very high molecular weight. And there is another one. They are really looking for a low molecular weight for special benefit. And we are able to do that. But Ted, long story short, keep in mind, low, it's more biological effect. High, it's more mechanical effect.
Understood.
And depending on what you are looking for, you can choose the both or the two, or one of the two.
When we think about the oligo HA in skincare, we really utilize the low molecular weight HA, the short chain HA, to give an immediate plump to the skin because it's quickly absorbed superficially, and it's a humectant, so it draws in the moisture and it gives an immediate plump. The higher molecular weight, the longer chain HA is one that takes time to really see the benefits from, but it does tend to penetrate into the skin, into that dermal matrix. We do get a higher concentration of HA because of that, and it tends to be a little bit more resistant to the hyaluronidase as well, from my understanding. So there's always a benefit to have the combination of the low and the high. Francois, when you say the low has the biological effect, are you worried at all? There's some research to show that certain molecular weights of HA can actually be inflammatory. And so is that something that you guys worry about at all as you look at the oligo HA, or have you just not found that in your injectable formulations?
No, we have not found, and I will always ask my expert to answer the question. But it's something that we are that we are not discussing, and even vice versa for other indication. We have some clients saying that they saw with our HA anti-inflammatory property. So the beauty of HA, like by the way, some other biopolymer, it's a natural biopolymer that we have in our body. And you're right, you can get sometimes different property, but we are more speaking about anti-inflammatory benefit with our HA.
Someone wants her father.
Isabella, go to mom.
Okay.
She was born in Texas.
Yeah, okay. The last question really for you, Francois, and thank you so much again for your time. I know it's nighttime and you've got family responsibilities.
Nice.
You, again, as a supplier, you really kind of drive the ship, right, of the aesthetic industry is how I see HTL. And so it's really interesting for us to get your viewpoint as to, if you're looking at your crystal ball in 5 to 10 years, what do you think will be the most exciting thing that we'll have in our hands as both injectors as well as for perhaps even possibly skincare?
It's a very important question, and forgive me if I repeat again what I said at the IMCAS, but I think when I saw the people in the room at the IMCAS, there were about a lot of people in the amphitheater, and I saw their head following what I was saying. What I want to explain for the next 3-5 years, it's something that I did experience, and you are the expert, Ted. You remember in dermatology, 20-25 years ago, there were a lot of new active. like in acne, the tretinoin, the retinoid, there were a lot of new things. It's life in research and development. You don't have blockbusters every time. So there was a period where there were not a lot of new chemical entity. And the strategy that we had was really to develop combination.
Mm-hmm.
And the combination has changed a lot of things in dermatology, in the management of patients, in acne, in psoriasis, in rosacea. What I envision in our case for the aesthetic medicine, it is HTL would be again as a leader, the one providing new biopolymers on top of HA, new HA in terms of modified HA, heparosin, the drug substance of the toxin, the DNA, and I hope other biopolymers such as the collagen. So that's really what we're going to do. But at the same time, we are also actively working on combination because we are strong believer that for the management of your patient, for new property you are looking for with dermal filler as an example, the combination of biopolymers will be also a solution to better manage the patient. So what I do envision is a platform of new biopolymers with, again, HA as a flagship product. By the way, we are celebrating this year the 90 years anniversary of HA.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know.
When you have such a long history, you have also a long future.
Right.
So HA will remain the flagship. But at the same time, other biopolymer will come around. And in terms of combination, we are really thinking about HA combined with other biopolymer. And that's what I see for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So a lot of things for you to come for better manage your patient, for better addressing their needs, for better addressing the needs of new population. So new biopolymers and new combination. And it's the reason why I see the future very bright and very exciting. It's where we are putting our investment. It's where we are putting the money where the mouth is.
You know, I'm just thinking about pharma, especially in acne and rosacea, and how, you know,
You remember that time?
Yeah. And over the last 10 to 20 years, what we've really had, aside from maybe a couple of exceptions, we've really had not a huge blockbuster new product come out, but combinations to harness the benefits of the ingredients and actually act synergistically to improve outcomes for patients.
Exactly. You remember Adapalene and BPO,
exactly.
the Epidio Forte, the combination of a retinoid with a benzoyl peroxide for acne was absolutely game changer in the management of your patient. Mm-hmm. So I do believe that combination, and it makes sense when it's like two tennis players, when you have two strong players playing double together, but they will win.
Yeah, right. And now
combination will be one pass.
Yeah, we've just got a triple combination that came out for acne that looks to be synergistically so much better. So I can tell from the pharma world and take those learnings and apply it to what you're saying, and very much see the opportunity with combinations. As you're thinking about these new synthetic biopolymers or natural biopolymers, do you think that will you be talking about them more in terms of regenerative effects, in terms of, you know, working on the DNA or the epigenetic level, or do you think we're still be talking about them just in terms of collagen replacement mechanistically? Yeah.
Well, I would be more on the mechanistic. What I learn now in this field, we might see, and it's a bit what we see as well, more a mechanical benefit, but the interesting part, it's when you do more research, you discover other features and other property. But I would say more mechanistically, and then after some other benefit. But I think there is a kind of blue sky if we think about the future, about new biopolymers, our HA, our modified HA, and the combination with HA as really the flagship.
Okay. Wow, Francois, thank you so much for this. I really, really enjoyed it. And, you know, I would like to get you head of innovation on in about 6 to 12 months and really keep a very close eye on your company and hopefully, you know, continue this relationship, because I think, as I said, what you guys are doing is really driving the aesthetic ship for us for the next 5 to 10 years. So I just so enjoyed learning about your company and appreciate our relationship as well.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Ted. Very proud of being with you tonight. Really very interesting discussion. Excellent question. I hope that I was able really to explain a bit what we do and what we envision. The most important, your patient, they will always feel the difference with HTL inside. That's the most important.
I love that. Okay. So thank you again, everyone. This was Skincare Confidential. I am your host, Dr. Ted Lane. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, give us a like, tell your friends and family as well. In addition, we have our Science of Skincare Summit, which is the annual meeting that this podcast support, occurring November 8th through the 10th in 2024 here in beautiful Austin, Texas. We'd love to have you. You can check out our website, scienceofskincaresummit.com, to register. And you'll have great companies there, much like HTL, talking about what they're doing. And you have opportunity to see the future of skincare, which includes injectables, in my view, as well. So again, Francois, I appreciate you very much. And thank you very much, everyone.